Hello, my name is Henriette and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'd love to have you here. In this video, I really want to show you how you can create a beautiful Victorian themed Christmas on a budget. I'm going to be making, recycling, using what I've already got. But first, let's start with the most important thing, and that is choosing the Christmas tree. And my goodness, there was a lot of choice, but this is the one we ended up with. Home it came, and then it was time to cut off about 1/2 inch off the bottom of the tree. This helps get rid of any hardened sap and make sure that it can absorb lots of water to stay fresh and green throughout the festive season. So although I've already made some Christmas decorations for my tree, I needed some more, so I'm painting baubles that I've already got. I will link all the products and videos I'm referring to in the description box below. These baubles got painted with 2 coats of burgundy paint. I also changed the top. I used a bit of robin buff to make it look a bit more antique and added some ribbon. I also did some of my old baubles in gold, and I used a bit of robin buff. I mixed up a bit of antique gold with some European gold because it gives a really nice colour, a warm gold that I really like. I also wanted my tree to have some oranges on it because oranges is something that the Victorians really appreciated. I have dried a load of oranges in my oven and they're now ready to turn into decorations. I'm tying a simple bow which I'm then going to attach to the oranges using a little bit of wire. The other thing about using oranges on your tree is of course the smell that they give, which is so wonderful, and when you mix that with the smell of the tree, it truly is like Christmas is in the air. I made quite a few of these using burgundy ribbon and sage green ribbon. With the decorations all done, it was time to get back to my tree. And here comes the little tip. We've got quite a large tree, it's quite tall. So what I'm doing is removing the netting from the top first, just so I can attach the star and have a chair right next to the tree so that I can reach. I'm only little. And now that the star is all fixed, it's time to remove the rest of the netting. And I find this so satisfying. I mean, the smell and the look of the tree is just wonderful. Cover up the Christmas tree foot, I've been upstairs to the loft and found a Christmas tree skirt that I've had for many years. I think it's probably more likely that the Victorians use Christmas tree skirts. A big thank you goes to ollny for sponsoring this video. They've sent me these low voltage string lights with 400 LEDs, and I'm so thrilled because I've used these before and they are just such good value for money. They come with all the lights, obviously, and a remote control. This is their full lit design, and I've chosen the warm white version. I really like that they've split them into 2 sections. It makes it so much easier when you put them on your tree, less tangles, which we all like. So although I'm using these lights indoors, there are also IP44 waterproof, which means that you can use them outdoors too. How handy is that? So the question is, how many people does it take to hang up Christmas tree lights? And the answer is 2. Mike has come to give me a hand and I'm very grateful. So these lights come with 8 lighting modes and 3 different timers, and they're also dimmable, which is so nice and useful when you want to create an atmosphere. I'll be sure to leave a link in the description box below, and I can't wait to show you what they look like later on at night time. Now I could start decorating the tree, but I'm leaving the lights on because they're just so pretty. I'm beginning with a bead garland, one that I made many years ago. It's literally just wooden beads which I've put in a pattern onto a piece of wire. Then I could start hanging my homemade Christmas decorations, and it just goes to show what you can do when you're on a budget. I reckon about 90% of the decorations on this tree I've had something to do with. When I decorate a tree, I start with one type of decoration and then spread them around the tree and then move on to the next. That way you get quite a balanced look. I am of course also adding the decorations that I picked up on my recent Denmark trip. And if you haven't seen that video before, I'll make sure that I link it below in the description box. Whilst I'm decorating the rest of the tree, I wanted to thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and subscribe if you are enjoying it so far. I'll be most grateful, and I absolutely adore your messages. I've got in touch with so many of you and it's been absolutely awe-inspiring, so lovely. The tree is finished for now, but you will be seeing it again a bit later on in the video when I show you the ollny lights, and they are definitely worth waiting for. My mind then turned to the fireplace because I want to make something nice over there. And first of all I wanted to make a wreath, and I keep seeing these wreaths with a bit of rope up the top, and I thought, you know what, I can make one of those myself. So here I am, I'm sacrificing a garland which I'm cutting into smaller pieces, which I'm then attaching to my wreath using florist wire. I go around twice to make sure it's taut. I do almost one half in one direction where the fur is running in one direction, and then I change it for the other half. So they kind of meet in the middle at the bottom. I always make my own wreaths. I just find that it's so much cheaper than buying them. I mean, they've gotten so expensive these days. So once I've finished with all the fir tree, I then attach the rope to the top of the wreath, and I'm just going round and around as neat as I can to make it look like the ones that I've seen. I wanted to attach some bells as well, so these bells I've already been over with the rub and the buff to make it look exactly like the other metal I've got in the living room. Finally, it's time to add a bit of burgundy ribbon. There's a lot of that this year. I'm so pleased with how this turned out, and it looks really nice on the mirror above the fireplace. For the mantelpiece itself, I remembered that I had a pile of these bells. So first of all, I'm going to cut off the old ribbon that was on there, and then I'm giving them a little coat of rub and buff to make them look a lot more antique. They look a bit shiny and new at the moment. I found it the easiest just to use a paintbrush. Now once they had dried, I thought I'll make a garland out of them, and I'm just literally tying them on to some bits of twine. And I've added a little bit of sellotape or scotch tape as a needle if you like, to make it easier to thread them. I'm also making sure that they're equally distant so it looks nice and professional. I would love to hear from you. Do you have any little craft Christmas projects on the go? If so, please let me know what you're up to. Onwards and upwards. And I now got all my other garlands out to see what I had that I could use on top of the fireplace. And I had quite a few, and I like to mix them all so it looks really full. In fact, I think I ended up using about 5 garlands, maybe 6 for this fireplace. Fluffing, of course, is a must, so I'm fluffing away here before I put them on top of my mantelpiece. And I also just wanted to show you how I attached all these garlands to the fireplace. I've basically used 2 of the Command 3M hooks, which I'm attaching now. It's really important that you follow the instructions, because if you do, they will hold the weight that they promise. Then I started layering all my different garlands, and I'm mixing them up as I go along because I want it to look really full and full of different things, so it's interesting to look at. And I'm just making sure that on each side of the garland that they're the same length, they cascade down the side at the same length. This is the main focal point of my Christmas living room, so I want to make sure it looks really good. So I'm fluffing away some more as I'm placing the garlands on top of each other. To be honest, this is one of the Christmas jobs that I enjoy the most. I just think it's so nice when the fireplace looks like this. It only happens once a year, so I think it's well worth it. To make it all look even fuller, I am also going to add some eucalyptus fake or faux stems that I already had. And then of course it was time for my bell garland. And I think this has turned out really lovely. I really like it on the garland. To add that lovely deep burgundy colour, I'm bringing in some of my hydrangeas. Now these are from the garden, so they were totally free. I have spray painted them and sealed them, so they're all ready to go. I want this mantelpiece to fit in with my theme of Victorian Christmas, so I'm adding in some oranges, little red berries and some cinnamon sticks. I think this will really add to the aroma in the room too. And then I thought it might just look even nicer if I added some lights. So here they go, and that is all I'm going to do here. Now my children are grown-ups, but they're still liking their stockings. But instead of actually doing stockings, I thought it might be fun to do something different this year. So I'm knitting these stocking sacks instead. I'm making this up as I go along, but I've basically knitted 2 rectangles with 4 holes near the top. And now I'm crocheting them together because it makes it look so neat, even though it's on the inside. I'm getting rid of the loose ends, and then it's ready to turn inside out. I then braided a longish string, if you like, that I'm then going to thread around the top of my sack into the holes that I made when I knitted it. I kind of really like the size these are turning out to be, because I can fit a lot more into them, which I'm sure the kids will be happy about. I still wasn't 100% happy, so I decided to make some fluffy pom-poms to go at the end of the strings. Now I'm aware that you can get these fancy little pom-pom makers, but you really don't need them. I just use 2 bits of cardboard and that will do just fine. Look how fluffy they turned out to be. So I'm just attaching them, and then of course a little name tag so we know whose stocking is whose. I ended up making 4 of these, 2 for my own children and 2 for their other halves as well. I'm just going to place them all here next to the fireplace. I don't want to place them too close because we do use the fireplace. The next thing I really wanted to deal with were our sofas. They needed a touch of Christmas too. So I really got stuck into making some cushion covers, and I wanted them to be quite different. I wanted them to have textures. I wanted things going on to make it feel really cozy. So To these first ones I decided to add some trim, and they look a little bit like small snowballs. And also I really like the fabric. I think it's quite Christmassy. It's that lovely green again, which I like to use for Christmas. Just a few little things about the actual sewing. So I always do zigzag around the edges just to make sure that it doesn't fray. And also when you make cushions covers like these with a trim, you have to make sure that the front piece and the back piece are exactly the same size. Making these cushion covers doesn't actually take very long, and I'm really pleased with them because I think they turn out really well. It's easy to do, and of course it's homemade. I'd also bought a little bit of this off-white teddy bear fabric. It looks a little yellow here, it's just the sun is shining in through the window, changing its colour. I think this will really add some texture to the sofas, which are leather, so I think we need something which is soft and cosy. I'm not going to add any embellishments to these ones because we need something plain, because I'm going to do some more. Next up, I decided to get back to some knitting, and I thought that I could make a knitted cushion with a Christmas tree on the front. So I'm counting away here, making sure that I get it right. I'm not following a pattern here, I'm just making it up as I go along. And I decided to do a little crocheting around the edge. But not only that, I thought I should finish off with a scalloped edge, because that has very much been the thing for 2024. I'm very happy with these and I'm enjoying styling them on the sofa. So I'm going to start off with this teddy bear one and the snowball one, and then I found these burgundy cushions in a local shop, and I've embellished them a little bit by embroidering on some snowflakes. Our coffee table is quite large and I wanted to make it look really cozy for Christmas. So I'm going to reuse this tray that you saw in the autumn videos, and also the glass jar that was in the Halloween videos. And I'm adding to the tray some more of these gorgeous bells that I have already done with some rub and buff. I will be filling up this glass jar a bit later on, but for now I'm going to add some chocolates and some more lovely smelling oranges. In comes the Advent candles, and I'm going to add a few more books to this other corner for a bit of balance. And I don't know if you remember this little candle snuffer. That came from Denmark. I have also gilded one of our acorns that came from the autumn, and I'm going to add that with a little cone to make it a bit more visually interesting. Now back to this glass jar, which I'm going to use as a vase this time. And I'm simply going to be adding some fir tree branches and some eucalyptus and bay from my cotton garden. Now this probably won't last all the way till Christmas, but that's okay, I'll just swap it out with some fresh stuff. Just a few of the burgundy berries and that should do it just nicely. I also wanted to do a few little things to our reading nook over by our bay window, so I'm adding this gorgeous blanket, a book and some more chocolates. It is Christmas after all. I'm also going to bring in another one of the glass jars, another bell and some more oranges and a cone. So this vase I'm going to do slightly differently. I'm going to start off by putting some cones in the bottom, and then I'm going to be using faux greenery or fake greenery. I do like using fresh, but sometimes it's nice to do something different. And I think what's nice about this is that you can add the cones to the bottom. It just gives it a different look, which I think is lovely. I thought I our bookcase could also do with a little Christmas makeover. And I don't know if you remember, but I bought these lovely little wreaths in Copenhagen, and I think they will look just perfect here. I'm just using a bit of nylon string to hang them securely. Next, I just wanted to add some of these plywood trees to our little bar cart. One more detail to add, and that is this little mistletoe. I'm going to hang it up high and hope that people spot it during Christmas. And I think that just about wraps it up for my Victorian Christmas parlour. And I hope you've really enjoyed some of these little crafts that I've been making along the way. It feels so cozy in this room now, and this is during the day. You wait till you see it in the evening, and of course it smells divine as well, just like Christmas. And it's worth remembering that this is very much homemade and done on a budget. It never ceases to amaze me just how much a room can change when you start adding little bits and pieces into it. When you add texture, when you add a bit of colour, something green, something living, it's just absolutely amazing. I've been so excited to show you this. So this is the room at night time, and again ollny has definitely brought the magic with these lights, and I'm having so much fun playing with a remote control. I'm flicking through the 8 different lighting modes to find out which ones I prefer. And it turns out that I prefer quite a few of them, so I reckon they're all going to be used throughout Christmas. I also really like the fact that they are dimmable. I think that's a nice little touch. Thank you ollny for making our Christmas truly magical. That's pretty much it from me in this video. I hope you found some inspiration for your Christmas decor. All there's left to say is that I hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you. And of course, much love from London.